I am so glad you're here. We are continuing our D&D inspired month with a sort of cosplay, and it's a character that always makes me laugh. She's small but mighty, has the secrets of the universe locked in a box back in her hutch, and she definitely knows the difference between lemons and lemon juice. It's Bitsy from Uprooted, a Legends of Avantris campaign.
Jumping in here again to say that this series is also not for kids, so as cute as Bitsy looks, it's not for kids. I'm so sorry.
I loved watching both seasons. Bitsy is definitely my favorite character, although I do love everyone, and I've been wanting to make an outfit inspired by her for a while. When I first added this to my project list, I had the season 1 character art saved, but season 2's character art has a lot more detail, so I'm going to be using that as a reference. From what I can tell, she has a nice little orange blouse tunic thing, this cute yellow apron, and something blue underneath. I can't tell if it's a skirt or pants that I just can't see the rest of because of the apron. I tried looking at the character art, I tried looking at fan art, but all the fan art had different interpretations. Some of them had pants, some of them were a skirt. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do yet. And that goes for a lot of this project, because I said sort of cosplay at the beginning because I don't know if I want to go full cosplay on this, like by making ears and a tail, because all I really want is her outfit. So I don't think I need to go full cosplay with the ears and the tail, but I haven't decided fully yet, so we'll just see how it goes. I also haven't decided yet if I'm going to stay true to the character art itself or put a bit of my own spin on it and make it wearable. By that I mean making pieces that it can be worn separately or together outside of just this cosplay. I often try to make my cosplays wearable because I hate the idea of making something once and then never touching it again, even though there are several things on my costume rack that applies to. But I really do try to wear as much of what I make as possible. For this project, that means potentially making the orange shirt more of a dress and making the apron a dress on its own. And then if I do pants or bloomers, they can just be worn on their own because there are no details on them. Though at the moment I am leaning toward it being a skirt, and if it's a skirt, I already have 2 light blue skirts, so I don't necessarily need to make that. But maybe I'll do some research and watch some more of their shorts and then make a decision, I'm not sure. But, as always, all of our fabrics are thrifted. I have this yellow bed sheet that I've already used for 2 other projects outside of this, so hopefully there will be enough to make what we need. I also have this orange, I don't know what this is. I thought it was a tablecloth, but I'm not sure. I don't know what this is, but it's orange, so I grabbed it, because that's the only fabric I was missing for this project. If we do make the bloomers, I have this blue fabric left over. It was a huge piece I thrifted like 2 years ago that I did use for my Spider-Man dress, but it seems a little too dark and saturated a blue for what Bitsy has. So I'm kind of leaning into the skirt theory. That way I don't have to make another blue skirt when I already have 2, or make blue pants because actually I already have blue pants. So we're just gonna focus on the top and the apron and maybe making it a dress. I don't know. For the details, I also have a lot of thrifted trim that I think works really well for this. I also have a lot of little roses that I thrifted. I think they can be ironed on, or maybe they're just stickers. I actually don't know. I have a little thing of elastic, but I also have a bag of thrifted elastic to use. And then I thrifted this little sprig of rosemary because Bitsy is an herbalist. So I thought it would be fun to have this as a prop. It was 30 cents. Those are our materials. I have to go decide what I'm actually doing with them, and then we'll get to work. Like our last video, I tried to wear an outfit inspired by the other characters in the campaign, and today's is inspired by Peggy the Frog. I started working pretty late this first day, so my main goal was just to get all of the pieces cut out and set myself up for work tomorrow. After cutting out the orange pieces for the tunic and the yellow pieces for the apron, I did revisit some of their shorts, and in one I saw Bitsy from the back and found that they are indeed little pants. So I looked around and remembered I had a fitted sheet hiding in my stash that was the perfect shade of blue for her pants. So I took a bloomer pattern and just lengthened the legs. Then everything was cut out. The main pieces, at least. My day 2 outfit was inspired by Grumly the Pug. And as I loaded a new bobbin for the shirt, I remembered my crochet Bitsy. And then I remembered I just made nut pugs, and now I have to make one a little knight's outfit just like Grumly. Putting the shirt together didn't take long, although zigzag stitching over the elastic around the wrists did take a minute because my machine hates to zig or zag. It's always worth the work though because I love that little ruffle it gives. Luckily this tablecloth, I found the tag and it is indeed a massive tablecloth, had an overlocked edge so it was all ready to be hemmed. Then it just came down to attaching the sleeves, and for some reason, whenever I use this pattern, one side never aligns with the other, so I always have to kind of just fudge my way through. And just like that, the tunic was done, so I moved on to the pants. Now, whenever I try to make even the simplest pair of pants, I always forget what gets attached where. So I ran through the pattern in my brain and thought I had it figured out. But when I broke out my thrifted elastics and started feeding them through the hems on the legs, I discovered that I had sewn the pieces together down the middle in the front, essentially sewing the legs together, which might work for a mermaid but doesn't work for me. So I took them apart and clipped them together properly. Once the leg issue was sorted and the waistband was secured, the pants were done, so I moved on to the apron. For the top piece, I used a camisole pattern I use frequently, threw that together very quickly, and protected the edges of the skirt piece. Then it was time to figure out how to make the decorative band that stretches across the bottom of the apron. I found the perfect piece of white scrap fabric and just kind of freehanded it following the curved shape of the skirt's hem. I also had cut some blue strips from the same sheet as the pants and used those to line the top and bottom of the white piece. I gave it all a quick press, since this white fabric was quite wrinkly from being stashed away for so long, and started figuring out the decorations. Those tiny roses I mentioned earlier I thought would add some nice detail to the design, so I just started sticking them down, measuring the spacing to be about 2 inches apart. They were already really sticky, so I was kind of worried that they were just stickers. But since I had the iron out anyway, I gave them a little press, only to find that it did absolutely nothing. They are stickers. I just have a ton of stickers. So it was time to stitch them down by hand. But looking at it, I think all of that work was worth it. Alright, the band at the bottom of the apron is done. No, it's not done. Forgot I need the loops. But you know what? We'll worry about that tomorrow. But really, for the most part, the apron just needs to be put together. All of the detail work, well, almost all of the detail work is basically done. I don't consider the ruffles on the straps to be detail work because it's just sewing them to the side of the strap. But this was a lot of hand sewing just to make sure they don't shift or fall off. Now, as far as this being an apron, I don't think it'll be an apron forever. I did cut out the back piece for a bodice and the skirt to eventually turn it into a dress. The only weird thing is I didn't make 2 of these, and I kinda don't wanna. Which, I don't know if that would be too weird on a dress for only the front to be decorated, but just in case I did decide to make it a dress, I did cut out the pieces, and it wouldn't be very hard to put those together at the very least. I'm gonna call it a night, so I'll see you tomorrow. Day 3's outfit is inspired by Booker T. Raccoon. To add the red loops, I started tacking them into place to eventually sew over top with the machine, but that was incredibly frustrating as the thread kept catching on the yarn and pulling them out of place again, so I tacked them all down with the tiniest dollop of hot glue. One of the other important details of this outfit, the adorable flower buttons, so I brought out my button tin and grabbed the biggest ones I could find. To cover them, I cut out little circles from the yellow sheet and stitched them around the edge. After placing the button in the center of the circle, pulled the thread and closed the fabric around it. To really make it taut, I kept looping the thread through opposite sides of the fabric and pulled them all in tightly. To cover up those ugly overlapping threads, I lined the backs of the buttons with blue circles that I ladder stitched to the yellow to make a clean seam. Once the buttons were all covered, I painted the flowers on with fabric paints, which really made it look cute and cartoony. As those dried off to the side, I pinned the band into place at the bottom of the skirt and sewed it down along the outermost edges, avoiding the hot glue and keeping those loops in place. I attached a blue waistband to the top piece, gathered the skirt to match the length, and sewed the apron pieces together. But there were still a few more details to sort out, including the straps and the bandana. I sewed 4 yellow tubes to turn into ties, 2 for the apron and 2 for the bandana, which I cut out by using an existing bandana as a pattern. I considered adding the red details with the same puffy paints I used on the buttons, but decided to use yarn instead. I zigzag stitched over the yarn to make the lines and embroidered the little pattern in between them. Adding these details before sewing it closed helped keep the underside clear of any stitching, so once the embroidery was done, I sandwiched those ties in between the right sides of the bandana pieces and sewed it all around, only leaving one small hole to turn it inside out. After a quick top stitch, the bandana was done as well. The only pieces left now were the straps, which were made from the folded edge of the yellow sheet, cut to the right length to crisscross in the back, and decorated with some white ruffle trim on both sides. I tucked the apron ties between the straps and the apron itself and sewed it all down. And now, with the buttons stitched to the front, the cherries on top of our Bitsy outfit, it's time for the reveal. I love it. What can I say? I love it. Wearing it makes me so happy. It's also really comfortable. I love a comfortable costume. I do think that I will turn the apron into a dress because I think it's just too cute and pretty to only wear it for a costume. So I'm glad I cut out the other pieces to turn this into a dress, and I think I'll have plenty to work with here to turn it into a dress. And if I do that, it'll be more wearable. I'm not gonna worry about continuing this pattern on the back because I didn't measure anything, so I wouldn't know how wide to make the piece so that it looks continuous. So I'm just not gonna worry about continuing the pattern onto the back. I'm just going to add a back to the bodice and a back to the skirt, and then I will kind of switch the straps around. Right now they crisscross in the back, which is fun, but I'll probably detach them from the sides and then just turn them into normal straps. Unless there's a cool way I could keep the crisscross. Maybe I'll make that a short. But overall, I really love everything. I think I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of all of these pieces, which is nice. This orange tunic thing, I love. I'm not gonna call it a dress because it's a little bit short for me to call it a dress, but I can wear it with leggings and not feel weird. So I'm gonna call it a tunic. By the time this comes out, I will have already used it on Instagram for a Disney Bound. Because it's March and it's the Disney Bound challenge, I have been posting outfits there every day for the challenge. I'm also fundraising over on my Instagram, so if you want to check that out, please do. No pressure, of course. I know money's weird for everybody right now, but at this point I've already passed my initial goal, which is fantastic and it makes me so happy. So I'm finding another organization to start another fundraiser for, so just had to plug that in. But I did use this orange tunic to bound as the carrot pen from Zootopia, because why not? And I wear bandanas all the time, so this is going to be also very wearable for me, especially in combination with the dress. I'm just very pleased with how this came out. Yeah, I don't even think I have any notes. I guess there's the pants. The pants are a little bit big in the waist. I made the elastic band too long, and I've already taken it in once and thought, oh, that should be fine. It's still a little bit big, but that's an easy fix. What was I gonna say? Man, I put on a Bitsy costume and everything left my brain. Yeah, I guess that's it. I don't think I have any notes other than the waistband, and that's very fixable, so I love it. And if you do too, you can let me know by hitting the like button. And if you want to see what we're doing next and join the channel, hit the subscribe button. This month is our D&D inspired month, so I have another D&D series inspired project next week. And if you want to know when I post, hit the notification bell. YouTube will let you know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!